Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Dark Roast Podcast. This is episode 22, but I did a little twist and a change up. So, instead of being in my studio, I decided to take episode 22 and relocate it to our featured guest's home in his counter. And this is William Papa, by the way. Thank you for having us here and having us on the show.
Thank you for putting me on the show.
Yeah, of course. So, how are you, first of all? How's everything on your end?
Good. A little excited. I know we've been talking about having the podcast for a while.
Yep.
We started that conversation back in March.
Yep.
And then now it's like things were delayed, and we talked about this idea of doing like a live cooking kind of thing. Situations happen where it's like, oh, the smoke alarm's going to get set off, or
I know
we were going to go outside.
We were actually going to try to do it outside, but because like there was not outlets anywhere for the setups.
Sweltering hot outside.
Oh yeah, it's like 70 degrees.
Best thing to do is just finish it here, so do all the plating here, and then eat mid-episode. And so it's something that's pretty exciting. We talked about KBBQ during the first part. Now it's like we're gonna do tacos for this one.
Tacos, yeah. So show me before like we get to your setup, right?
Yeah.
What got you into cooking? Just out of curiosity, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what got me into cooking? I started senior year of high school, so that's probably like, I don't know, like 7-8 years at this point. It's been a while.
Right.
And so I'm just gonna put these over here for right now.
Go for it.
And what got me into cooking was, I guess, like the blunt way to put it was, I was kind of like, I wanted to try something new from eating like Filipino foods that my mom would always make. So I wanted to do something a little different. Filipino foods are like, naturally fatty and like really high in like salt, fat, vinegar.
Right.
So it's like I kind of wanted to eat a little bit healthier and control what I wanted to eat. And also it's like I didn't want to keep eating like adobo every single time, or sinigang. It's like it got more and more repetitive.
What's funny too is like, because knowing your mom, I think this goes to all Filipino moms and Filipino dads.
Yeah,
they will force you like come like eat. You save money, but then the problem is like, you're right, Filipino food, it's good, but it's like it's just oily, man. Like cholesterol and all that stuff. So I guess to that point, there must have been like a calling for you or something. That was just like, you know what? Let me change it up a little bit and add some like more healthier versions of like Filipino food. And not just Filipino food. You also do like other like cultural cooking.
Now it's gone to the point, where it's gone comforting. So, it's like, it's usually things that I just come up in my mind. I'll look up recipes from different cultures and do that.
Nice.
In college, what we did, this is like the year where the pandemic started. So this is like early 2020, before like it hit the United States.
Right.
My roommates and I, we did this thing where it's like, we wanted to explore different cultures. So we choose a different country and try cooking its cultures for that week. Oh. So we would do sick. Japan week, which was like our biggest flop because we spent a lot of money on like a college student's diet trying to make like ramen from scratch. Right? Oh my God. So it was a 2-day, 48-hour process of cleaning the pig feet, boiling it, cleaning it all out, and then going through the whole process at 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. of cooking it, because that's how you make like tonkatsu
ramen. Yep.
Yeah, and then we got the wrong type of noodles, and then we got we tried making pork chashu, but we got the wrong kind of like pork belly. Oh, so it wasn't like like those circular ones.
Yeah, the circular ones.
We couldn't get the circular ones. We got this really long slab and we rolled it ourselves. But so in the middle was like really fatty and we didn't cook all the way through. So we're down like probably $200 among 4 college kids.
Oh, that's rough, dude.
And it was like...
That's rough.
From there, we kind of learned to make things cheaper. So Italian week was a lot easier because we made everything like pastas from scratch.
Yep.
Which was a lot cheaper. We did... one of my roommates was Indian, so Indian week was like kind of his thing. And it was pretty good.
That's sick.
So yeah, it's like from there, just really fell in love with trying to explore different cultures with food. Even though I don't know the culture myself. So I don't want to like appropriate too much, right? No, but it's also like, it's more for me respect for the culture. So I always try to go out and try to find foods that are related to the culture. Yeah. My scope's been pretty small now since like I don't go out as often. Right. But I always give respect to, the foods that I always like trying. So yeah, it's been pretty fun.
But that's the thing though, because like even when you're making the attempt,
Right.
That's the first thing. Number 2, you're also going on Google and going on YouTube, and keep in mind too that if you go on YouTube, like people that are from that country are providing instructions anyway. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like you're probably making it correctly if you're just following it through YouTube.
Someone else,
yeah, through someone else, or unless like I don't know if you not only do like the YouTube University, Google University, but maybe you had like other people that are like masters as cooking, or they're chefs, and they probably like, hey, like you want, or you ever had like a cooking class before?
I've taken a couple. I've done a couple in cooking class, and like couple cooking classes in college. I was part of a cooking club in college. So it's like I've had the opportunity to meet some local chefs in the New Jersey area, and
that's cool.
Actually see like what they usually do. So it's like it's been pretty nice. But more recently, like I haven't really done too much with that. But yeah, I've always liked learning from people who make it their craft.
Nice. You have like a person that you like look up to in terms of like cooking.
Is there someone?
Yeah.
So I like Kenji Lopez Alt.
I was gonna say too. Your parents?
Well, my dad doesn't cook.
Oh, sorry, Dad. No, just kidding.
My dad doesn't cook. My mom cooks, but it's like her scope's limited to Filipino only.
Only Filipino?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's like, if I want to eat Filipino food, I'll go home, right? I'll enjoy her cooking, because that's homegrown, right?
That's culturally home, like I feel at home type.
So it feels good, right? And like I like the way she does adobo compared to other areas of the Philippines, right? And it's like, so I like that, but more so if it's like broad or trying to go more outside of that scope, it's I like Jay Kenji the most.
Jay Kenji?
Yeah.
What's his ethnic background?
I don't know. I don't follow him from the cultural side.
Gotcha.
I always follow him from like the scientific side.
Oh, scientific.
So it's like one of the recipes he always did was baked wings.
Ooh.
So it's like usually when you make wings, you fry them, or you don't put them in the oven because they get too soggy.
Gotcha.
So he made this recipe where if you weigh out salt and cornstarch, it gets really crispy. And so it's like,
I didn't know that.
You can actually make crispy wings properly in the oven.
Oh, that's
so I follow him for that. There's a couple other chefs on YouTube that I follow. I like Binging with Babish a lot. So this is his knife.
Oh, that's sick.
So I like him a lot. It's like I like following the chefs that don't have that culinary background, but more so learn through experience, because I feel like that's how you get the most culinary background is.
Right.
Like you can watch as many videos as you want, but if you never apply it, then you're never really learning.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about executing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And here's the thing too: when you're executing it, like how the first like you make a couple mistakes. Like the first mistake you had, like your Japanese week.
Yeah.
Obviously, there were some issues with the meat, because like it wasn't the correct meat or whatever, and then the noodles were incorrect and stuff like that. But you executed it.
Yeah.
So you knew like with your group that you were doing the Japanese week, you learned through that, and then you realize like, okay, at least like moving forward, I can start getting more confident in like making the ramen recipe, the tonkatsu ramen recipe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to have somebody like yourself learn through all that stuff, and obviously you're still continuing to learn how to be good at cooking, which you are good at cooking. It's just like you're trying to be the best version of you being a chef. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like part of me is now focusing on cooking that I actually really like doing. Like focusing a lot more and highlighting that comfort rather than trying to explore something that I don't know. So it's like if I'll go out of my way to want to try something, but I find it that I always go back to the classics, like things that I've always kept making. And I think that's the Filipino mindset too. My mom always stuck to things that she liked making. And
Filipino food, yep.
Yeah, so it's like, it's that homegrown kind of feel. So I'm just trying to broaden that as much as I can and then bring it on to, like future family or whatever, right?
Yeah,
so.
And not only future family, you also, not all the cuisines that you make, but you also make them on your YouTube channels,
right?
Or your shorts.
So
like I did look at some of them. Like I saw like your truffalo wings. That actually looked pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie. Especially like how you made the sauce. That was actually very interesting. I never even heard of truffalo wings until you brought it onto YouTube. Yeah. So I got curious. And then you also made like your banana split too.
Yeah.
But the way you did it, you would think it's just like banana, that's it, ice cream, and then boom, there's your banana. But you did it with like involving with like actually cooking the banana.
Yeah,
you know what
caramelizing
I mean?
the banana.
Caramelizing the banana. So like details like that, because I don't really cook. I can cook probably like the simplest things on the planet, but that's it. But seeing like that tells me a lot of like your passion of what you do. You know what I mean? Like cooking, and even scientifically, you also like study like how much measurements. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and how much like do I add more like seasoning on this? Do I add more sugar? Like you'll take probably like a taste of it. And you're like,
you gotta always taste it. Yeah,
exactly. So like things like that. I'm gonna get into that point too about like trying to go into like your YouTube stuff like that. But what wanted you to do the YouTube or even TikTok? Like you do like shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've always liked, or when I was a kid, I really wanted to just make videos. So I always had like kids back then, like when I was like 10 or 11. There was like videos of me as a kid online like that I always wanted to do. I've learned like in the past it used to be clout chasing, I guess. Right? Clout chasing. Like a lot of people back then always went for clout chasing. Yeah. Right?
I think they still do.
And a lot of people still do. I've learned, and I figured what would make me different now is something that I'm actually more passionate in. Usually like back then when I was like in early high school, like a freshman in high school, it was like gaming. Right, but everyone had a gaming channel, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's not like not everyone has a cooking channel, but it's like I figured amongst my group of friends or people locally, it's like cooking can be my thing that I figured I can be different even if I'm not the best. And so I think for me that's been more entertaining. It's like I'm not the best person at video gaming. I can't always improve like my gaming skills. But I can always do more research on cooking and trying and applying new things and always supplying food. So that was my direction into why I wanted to do cooking as a content creation kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And it's like now, I think we'll go into it later. It's like I've gotten further and further away from content creation and more so just this is where I'm going to put videos that I make online.
Oh, okay.
All right. It's like it's a lot of it has been like the cloud chasing has kind of died down.
It died down, right?
Like 2022 was like looking statistically was a really good year to start off the channel for a small content creator kind of way.
Gotcha.
Like that's where a lot of my views boomed, and then a lot of I got a lot of subscribers quickly that way. But then now it's like that really slowed down this year, especially with the way I tried to explore content.
Gotcha.
So it's like views went down, and then the kind of quality I was doing kind of also went down. I lost a lot of creativity, and that was also because of the environment that I was kind of in at the time. So
probably like a negative environment too.
And then I found content creation to be like kind of that negative thing. Like I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to like do something else entirely.
Gotcha.
And then from there, YouTube kind of punishes that because the way it works is you have to be constantly consistent. And then so back when I was like living with my parents, when I was making those videos, I was really consistent. I was like Monday and Fridays because I had nothing else to do. I'd always post a video. But now it got to the point like
you just don't have time.
Here I don't have time. Like I was in January this year, I got laid off like towards the end of the month, and then starting February, like that was the official close off. So for those 2 months, February to April, I didn't really feel like making content. I wanted to just find a job. Right. And I didn't have any support. Like I didn't have unemployment insurance. Right. Okay, so like nothing ever got through. So I had no safeties either. So making content, like the difference between like I found from like gaming content or like motivational speaking or anything like that is that it doesn't require a lot of external costs. Cooking does because you have to buy all the ingredients. And then I told my roommates that I didn't want to burden them with the costs of cooking because it was my hobby, not theirs. Right, which is only fair because
that's fair.
I'm taking like our kitchen space away from them for a little bit, and I in turn I want to supply them with the food. But also I don't want to put them with that cost.
With the cost,
So for me, burdening that while still being unemployed and not having unemployment insurance kind of was like, okay, can I really do this? And then so it got less and less like more. It was more like if I did do it, it felt like a job that I didn't like doing. And then more so like I just didn't want to do it anymore. So that's where my content creation kind of died down.
What's interesting too, first of all, I'm gonna attest with you on like time, because for me that's my one thing too, especially like doing podcasts. Like it is so hard for me to be consistent because of work, B, I'm always like somewhere traveling or whatever. And then C, I have to also have to remember my schedule and the featured guest schedules intertwining. Because you can also be busy, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel for you on that because, like, once you have, like, that consistency, then your content will be booming with, like, subscribers and viewers. But then if you don't have the consistency, it's just... It'll definitely, like, go down for sure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe you'll get a little bit, but it won't be like what it was we had initially.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then going to, like, you know, you didn't have, like, you got laid off.
Right.
And then that also plays a factor. So now it becomes, let me start with, like, what I got to work on right now. Like, the biggest priority is making sure I have, like, some, like, income, financial stability. You know what I mean? Because you know, like, okay, like, if I ever wanted to go back to the content, I could.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, like, you have, you know, higher priorities that you needed to focus on. You know, like, it'll always be. But then I do like the fact that you realize that your creativity becomes less and less when you do more of your content.
Right.
Because it feels, the best way to say it, like, it feels fake.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're just doing it for. Don't get me wrong. Like, the viewers will love it, but like, you're doing it really for the viewers, but not for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's where I feel like psychologically, right? You know what? Let me just go away from the content.
Right.
Let me, like, enjoy actually cooking without having to worry about viewers and the negativity. There's always going to be negativity.
Yeah.
There's going to be doubters and haters. There's going to be just throwing, like, your cooking is not great, or they'll critique you.
Right.
Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you had, like, a realization, like, you know what, like, forget them. Like, let me just cook and just see where I go. And honestly, like, you realize, like, I don't really need the content. Like, I could if I want to, but I'm making things, like, out of love.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
making things out of my passion, you know? And that's what I like, because then I think you evolved as a chef, you know?
Right.
And then being able to, look what you made us now. Like, I know it's getting cold, I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Yeah, but, like, things like this, like, you were able to understand and make probably things quicker.
Right.
You know, because that to me makes, like, a big, like, effect. Because if you have that passion, you don't really necessarily need, like, the YouTube, the clout.
Right.
Like, that actually is soulfully, like, your passion.
Yeah.
And you love doing it. And that's why, like, you know, being able to hear from that. Actually, I'm actually pretty inspired by that, because, like, me as a guy, like, trying to, you know, become, like, good with podcasting and stuff like that. Realistically, I love it because not for the clout. Like, I actually love it because I like to get to know people. Like, you know, how did you get into cooking? You know what I mean? Like, where did it even start? You know, I had people on my channel too. That, you know, the last podcast I had was a guy that did acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was, like, on commercials with, like, McDonald's, Adidas, and all that stuff like that. But I really wanted to know, like, how did you get there, and what were, like, the roller coaster rides that you had to go through. Yeah. He's, like, just like you, spent thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah. Just to get to where he wants to be at. You know, but even through all that, he loved acting. Like, he loved theater. He even said that theater was more challenging than the actual, like, lights, camera, action. Right. Because theater is live. Yeah. Like, you can't, like, mess up in a whole 2-hour theater. Oh, yeah. Because then people will be like, oh, he froze.
Yeah, there's no double takes.
There's no double take, nothing. You're literally on stage live, and it's just like, shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Same thing with this. It's like, now it's like, you know, when you go into, like, the cooking era, like, the cooking, like, phase that you're going through, you know what I mean? You don't need the recording. Like, because then again, this is where you lose that creativity. Yeah. Because you're just, like, worrying about, oh, God, like, what if the viewers don't like this angle? Oh, God, like, what if they see, like, it's a medium well? Yeah. And it's not medium or medium rare, like the steak, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then that's where it kind of sets, like, the, how do I handle this? Either I can literally just ignore the haters and then realize, like, you know what, let me just focus on what I got going on and not worry about what people think. Yeah. Or it's going to hinder you. And then it's going to create this, like, negativity psychologically where you just, like, you feel like you feel crap. You feel like crap, like, literally. But that's why I like the fact that you have, like, that current psyche right now where you're just like, you know what, I don't need to worry about them. Like, I got,
this is for me.
This is for you. You know what I mean? And I can already tell this is made out of love. So
yeah. Fortunately, I did get a job back in April. So ever since then, it's been more like, I think once I started working again back in April, I got that boom to want to do content creation again. Because now I had something that was a job. Yeah. Now I didn't have to treat content creation like a job. Yeah. It was more like, oh, now I can have fun with it again. Yeah. Now the struggle has become, as you mentioned before, it's time. Now it's like, because before I was remote, so it was easier to actually record. 5 o'clock the day ends, I can just go record. Now 5 o'clock the day ends, I still got to go home.
Oh yeah, you
unwind, and then I'm really like, do I really want to pull out the cameras and film right now? And then have to edit, and then
because the commute's going to be already a hassle.
Yeah,
you probably have like a 30-minute commute,
but that adds up and
with traffic. And then you'll be. Even after all that, like you'll get home, you'll feel mentally drained from just driving. You know what I mean? And that kind of nobody realizes how energetically draining driving is.
Yeah.
You're
sucks. Always thinking.
Yeah,
especially in traffic.
Yeah, and especially trying to I'm trying to get to the exit, so let me just try to cut to the middle lane, then to the right lane, and then at the same time too, like even after all that, you finally get through. Like you're just like, I just want to chill in my bed.
Yeah.
Like I want to lay in my bed. I would love to like. It takes a lot, you know what I mean? Like, if you're willing to do it, you can, but then would it be healthy for you?
Right,
like, if you're willing to do it, go for it. But I personally think, like, you want the rest.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get, like, that full 8-hour, okay, maybe less, because, you know.
A lot less,
like, at least 5-6 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And then be able to recover the next day. And then you'll probably be thinking, oh, maybe I can do it on the weekend. Now, you're also busy on the weekend, too, so it's like, that's why it comes down. I am glad though that you're able to, you know, congrats on like the new job first of all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so then at least you have like the financial stability. But then again, the next factor is time. You know what I mean? I think you and I are on the same boat where time is always the issue because it's like I want to get my content up, but at the same time too, it's hard because I'm never around to do my setup. Even if I'm around, what about my guests?
Yeah,
they might not be around either. So like, you know, being able to realize that. Is one of the factors of like, this is the only way I can realize like it's possible to get views and subscribers. Yeah. But there's a lot of like factors that kind of just settle in for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the take that I'm seeing from you.
Yeah.
Because realistically, like you're just trying to enjoy anyways with cooking. You know, it's just like you want to do the content, but at the same time too, like when do I have that time?
Right.
You know? Yeah. But anyways, side note on that. I do like what you got going on here. So what did you make, by the way?
So these are steak tacos. Traditionally, it's with white onion and cilantro on top. Ooh. So steak's been marinated in orange juice, a couple of spices, garlic.
Say orange juice?
Orange juice, yeah.
What? Really?
Anything like citrusy, it breaks down those proteins.
See, I don't know. I'm not a chef, so I will like when you said oranges, I'm like, you didn't tell me this part. Was this always like this for all chefs to make these like steak?
Yeah, it's like it just goes a lot of marinating for the steak, so it breaks down a lot of those proteins. I think technically or traditionally it's flank steak.
Flanks, okay, gotcha.
Pretty pricey, so I went to a cheaper cut. This is a California cut.
Gotcha.
Which should still be as good, but grilled it outside for a little bit, got it to a nice sear. I think it's a little cold, but it should hold up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
I think this is pretty good. And then lime on top.
Yeah.
So, you want to cheers into this?
Sure.
Here, grab this one.
Of course. Why tacos? It's probably the simple kind of like, all right, let me just... Probably the meat was probably the longest because you have to make sure like it's marinated. You probably waited like a couple hours, maybe a whole day. Cheers, by the way. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh my god. This is actually still... It's actually pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Oh my god, hold on.
I'm gonna get us napkins.
Yeah, go for it. Thank you. Check this out. Forget it. It's good.
So the reason why I went with using tacos for today, I think we talked about it. It was like KBBQ. We want to do something live. Then slowly as we figured out logistically, we had to do something inside. I was like, all right, what's simple that I can pull together, plate it live. Tacos was the easiest option. So
makes sense.
This is one of the versions. The other one we have is chicken.
Ooh.
So we'll wait till you finish that, and then I'll start plating the other one.
Gotcha. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. I gotta finish mine too. But yeah, no, I'm glad you like it.
This is really good. Oh my god. I do want to say though. Remember when you gave me the "Are you like hungry" sandwich, like a fat sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, he gave me a fat sandwich. Literally, I forgot which one though that you made. Was it the fat?
It was what I would have done if I won the challenge. So I called it the Fat Papa. So I guess if you want to give background on.
Oh yeah, the Fat Papa was literally like mozzarella sticks. I think it was
It was mozzarella sticks,
French fries,
beef
gyro, tomato, lettuce,
fries, and then hamburger. Yeah.
I could not finish it. It was so good that I literally only had like half of it because it was so like the portion was huge. Yeah. So I was able to not just like 2 times, but like 4 times in order for me to finish that sandwich because it was so big. Like I had to literally cut it in quarters because it was so huge. But it was so good though. Yeah. Like that to me, like that was the first time I think I had your cooking.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of it. Like I saw in your shorts. Because my sister kept mentioning about like, oh, like you should try Will's like cooking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm curious. And then because I saw a little bit of your shorts. I saw a little bit of your YouTube stuff. So I'm like, oh man, that actually looks pretty good. I gotta actually like maybe at least try something. And that's when my sister brought up about the fat sandwich.
Yeah, that's the comfort side.
Yeah, of and I see why. Yeah. I see why. I mean, trust me, I felt comfortable. It's called a coma. It was definitely a beautiful, like, you know, like when you're, I'm like, dude, it was I knocked out. Yeah. It was perfect too, because I think the 2 times when I had it, when I put in quarters, it was like my post-meal workouts.
Yeah.
Because like I would go to the gym, work out, and then I'm like, you know what? I still got Will's sandwich. I'm just gonna finish up because it will fill me up like so fast. And like I remember too, like I was like, yo, I will pay you. Like I don't care. You gave me it for a good deal too. It was like I was like
$5.
Yeah, I was like $5. I'm like, bro, this could have been like $20. Okay, all right, that's a little too much.
Yeah, fat sandwiches are pretty cheap.
They're pretty cheap. Yeah. I would say like $10.
$10.
Yeah, but still $5 like for a hamburger, steak.
Yeah.
French fries, mozzarella sticks. Like you're trying to kill somebody.
Nah,
in a good way.
That was a pretty good concoction. Like I think so like the background behind that is the university that we both went to had this thing called the Fat Sandwich Challenge, which is finish 5 of their fat sandwiches in 45 minutes. You get to make your own fat sandwich. It's like a few people have it, so the Fat Daryl I think is one of them, which I think is a classic now that everyone likes.
Fat Daryl?
I think it's Fat Daryl. Yeah. So the one I wanted to make, I was training for this. Realistically, I didn't like my student job at the time, and it made me like, you know, I guess really frustrated. And that's when I got my sophomore year, like the freshman 15. I got that my sophomore year, except it was a sophomore 35.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But you can't help it because there's food all over the place.
All over.
Rutgers.
Yeah. And then I was like stressed with school and stuff and then eating all of that. And I wasn't going to the gym either. So doing the Fat Sandwich Challenge was, I guess, my like coping way of just dealing with it. Yeah. But also like it's a bad reason to go into like having to binge a lot of food. Yeah. But that was like I almost made the challenge. Like I was like training for it. I actually could have done it. I was on pace to actually do it, but then wallet-wise, you had to justify training with 5 sandwiches.
Oh my god!
And then like the amount of sodium that's in those sandwiches, like
I was gonna say that will actually kill you. Holy crap!
I realized my limit when I bought 3 and ate all 3 on pace to actually complete the challenge. Yeah. And I was like, I don't feel great. Like I'm done eating all this. And then spring semester, that was fall semester. Spring semester started and I started going to the gym and I started like fixing my diet. But now it's like, now I can't even eat a whole fat sandwich in one go. It's way too much. And I was like, how did I do that, you know, years and years ago?
Yeah. Well, you said it was like you're like a coping thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's like, and I do remember you saying like you do love comfort.
Yeah.
Food makes you that was your getaway from all the stress, from the classes that you were taking. You probably took like 18 credits one semester and you were just like, I need to find a way to not think about this. Yeah. Hence the fat sandwich stuff. Yeah. Like you've been literally eating it because it makes you not think about it. Yeah. But then you don't realize like, oh god, this is actually affecting me like health wise. Like obviously the weight gain. Yeah. the amount of sodium and like cholesterol are probably like, and it could probably get you like a type 2 diabetes. Like,
oh yeah,
and then that's when it's like, all right, let me just like stop where I'm at and just let me just cut whatever I could.
It was the next day from doing the eating 3 fat sandwiches. That next morning I couldn't get out of bed normally. Like I felt sick to my stomach. I noticed the hoodie that I had on. Like I bought it freshman year. It's like an oversized hoodie.
Yeah.
It fit me like kind of snug. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like I at that moment I was like, okay, I knew I needed to like change some things.
Yeah.
A lot of it, like that stress eating, came from school. Or not even school. It was mainly the student job that I had. Yeah. And like within that student job I knew I had to leave, but I needed to make some kind of like money on the side. Yeah. Like that job paid like $11 an hour. So at the time it's good for a student. I just needed something that matched that. Yeah. What happened in January of that year was I had this project in one of my IT classes. I forgot what IT class it was, but it was like it gave me the opportunity to speak to the marketing manager at the cybersecurity company.
Gotcha.
And so it was like I'll basically interview an IT professional. But I was like, oh, can I interview this guy who's in marketing but for a cyber company? She's like, yeah, sure, that works instead. I'm like, yeah. So I interview him, get to know a lot about his business, which was biometrics. And then from there, I was kind of like, oh, do you have an internship available? He's like, oh, well, we don't do internships for a really small company. I'm like, okay. So I kept hounding him throughout the holiday season. And then January comes, and he emails me back saying, hey, we'd like you to at least help out a little bit on the marketing side. Ooh. So I was an IT major. I never had anything to do with marketing. It's not that I wasn't interested. It's that I didn't know what it was. Right. So I thought marketing was just sales enablement, which it just mainly is. But there's like parts of marketing that I do like. So going into that, it was like, oh, we need someone that manages our social media accounts, figures out trends for us, and then someone that can do SEO a little bit. Recognize SEO trends. And I was like, oh, I can do all those. And then so they paid me like something that was more than what I was getting before at my student job with more hours because I can work remotely. Yeah, okay. And so I only had to go in the office once a week. And because the way I scheduled my classes that year was Fridays, I never had class.
Oh, that's good.
So I was like, oh, let me go down on Fridays. Yeah. So I'll spend 9:30 to 3 p.m. with that team. Yeah. And then they didn't care. And then Monday to Thursday, I'll just log whenever I need to. Yeah. So they'll send me emails and I'll just respond back. Yeah. And from there, that became how I got into marketing. But leading into that awakening side for the weight loss kind of thing, because of that job, I left my toxic student job. And from there, I was like, oh, because I can control my hours a bit more. Yeah. And now I'm making money doing something that I'm not getting yelled at constantly, even though it's not my fault. I was able to kind of be like, all right, let's wake up early. Let's cut down. Yeah. I finally had motivations and the opportunity to cut down. Right. Whereas before I was like, I need money, I need hours, but also I don't want to kill myself.
Kill yourself. Yeah. I mean, which literally just happened. Yeah. It's crazy because it's like, you're trying to get the income, but then it's like, oh my God, this is because I always say this. Someone, I have a friend that would tell me time is essential. Yeah. Your time is so valuable that if you really overload yourself, that it can actually cost you your health and stuff like that. I mean, you probably hang out with friends, but it's not that much of a priority. But still, it's you're basically cornering yourself in the dark, and you're just oh my God, I'm literally doing all this, and it feels like you said, you weren't in control. Yeah. You weren't in control of your own time. And then I think you realize if I'm in control of my own time, this will give me enough for myself, time for myself to figure out to lose weight. Yeah. To focus on my studies and stuff like that. So it's a big deal. Time is always a factor, because if you don't control your time, you'll lose yourself from this, and you'll get all that negativity, stress that you ended up gaining the 35 pounds. You know what I mean? And that to me is it's a big, I definitely went through that at one point where I was just so busy. I mean, I'm used to, taking advantage of my time, and I had that time where I felt like I wasn't in control. And it got to the point where I was just oh my God, I'm a little bit depressed. Yeah. Because I'm kind of I feel like in a vicious cycle. I don't know how to get out of it. Like, what do I do? So just like you, I realized to figure out ways to utilize my times. You know what I mean? Like you said, wake up early, get things done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, with my job, I go into the office, but at least it's like not far from me because I'm still living at home, but it's 8 minutes, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And my previous job, like, it was definitely stressful at like in the beginning before COVID happened because I was going to the office like 5 days.
Oh wow!
And keep in mind, I'm going from Hackettstown to Piscataway, which is like
40 something minutes.
40, and that's without traffic. With traffic, probably like an hour, maybe 50 minutes, but like it's usually an hour. So put that, and then it was. I knew I was like still trying to figure out the role. Yeah. So that also added to the stack of stress. Yeah. And then I want to still go to the gym. So I go to the gym, but I'm so dead tired. And then I go home, and then I'm just like, I can't even do anything right now.
Yeah,
I
you don't want to do content. Can't even.
Yeah.
You don't have time to record a podcast or even edit the podcast.
Funny enough, that was actually the pre-podcast, but I did my vlogging, and I didn't have time to vlog. So it was like it sucked because I'm sitting there like, I realized like, oh my god, like I mean, I'm making like. Finally, I'm making income for myself, which is great. But then the factor of my health is just like, oh my god, like I just feel like I need like a balance, like a work-life balance, you know? That's when the COVID like came into the play. It's obviously mainly it's bad because people died, like millions of people had died. But then if you're still around, and then luckily like my company like was an essential company. Because a lot of companies like shut down, so they laid off like a lot of people, like millions of people. Yeah, and I was blessed, and I felt for the people that lost like their jobs because of what had happened in COVID. So a lot of companies like they probably reopened, but then there's some that are officially like they're done. Like that's it. So I was fortunate to have Cascades. Like that was the company that was able to be an essential company because. It's a corrugated packaging company. You didn't think like boxes would be essential, but people were buying Amazon, then UPS, like postal box. Like, dude, I was like, oh my god, our business is actually doubling. Yeah. But then the problem was, well, keep in mind too, like it helped me out because I was working remotely, so that helped. Yeah. And that kind of stemmed from the initiation of my podcasting. But going back to it, because of all that happening, you know, like I was like, it was, you know, save so much money. Yeah. You know, staying at home and stuff like that. Yeah, obviously a lot of people died. Yeah. For sure. But if you were one of the few people, like the rare ones, like myself, being able to have an essential company and they were able to, you know, go through the COVID and you were still able to make money, it was huge. Because that year I was realizing I got to take advantage of like saving money. So it gives me, when I get to the things that start opening up again, like when things actually started opening up again, I was able to realize like I'm actually stable. Yeah. Not for the family though, like for myself. Like right now, like I need to, I need to get to that higher level. You know what I'm saying? But going through it, like that was a big factor for me, like that COVID time, because it allowed me to be in control. It made me. That's where my awakening was. Whereas I realized I need to be in control. Yeah. Like with my time. Yeah. You know what I mean? The whole remote work at that time was huge. Yeah. Because it allowed me to realize like, oh, I can work from home. Yeah, there was no gym yet until like later in 2020 they started opening up. But I was able to like realize like I'm not spending anything. Yeah. I literally like can just, I mean, whatever, like I guess Burger King or whatever, or like cooking in the house, go grocery shopping, or like my parents would cook something. That was like my way of surviving. Yeah. And it was huge because then that's when I realized like how to budget my money, you know what I mean? And budget my time. So it really played a big factor, as much as it's sad because it's the COVID, like people be dying and stuff like that. Yeah. So to me, I forgot why I was going to that part, because I know like, because Cascades was booming. Yeah. With business. But the problem was, I didn't work in the production floor, so again, that's why I'm working remote, because I'm customer service. But at the time, they only had to do half the people to go. Oh, so it sucked, because then you don't even have the full crew. You have half the crew and double the business. So you're gonna be like stupid behind. So when you're really behind, then all the customers have to understand too.
They
have to realize that we're in a weird worldwide situation where it's going to be a very like you're not going to get your stuff on time. They have to be aware of that, but they still are like they understood, but they still are in demand for it. But I'm pretty sure even to this day, I know I'm not with them anymore, but like even to this day, they're probably still behind. From that because of that whole perspective. You know what I mean? That whole situation with the COVID thing. But sorry with my whole rants. But going back to your situation, like time is essential. I think for you, like you were able to control your time, which is good. You know what I mean? You know what's funny because I don't like because you're closer with my sister, so I didn't even know you were going through the 35-pound like sophomore situation. So I don't even think I ever saw it, to be quite honest.
A lot of people said they didn't.
I didn't.
I like to say it was all in like my legs and stuff, and because I always wore oversized, it just now it didn't feel oversized, and that's where I felt like things got wrong.
I didn't even notice it. I was like literally like maybe like again, I like you and my sister are closer, so like, you guys like hung out more frequently. For me, it was more like I would hear like about you through my sister, but I never like saw you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to like realize what you were going through. Find like places where you're like, I think this is where I got to work on. You know what I mean? I got to work on my time. I got to work on getting like back to like a proper stability of income. And then being able to kind of come back to your content. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Like you're. Right now, obviously, too, the main focus too is to love what you do. Instead of like the content right now. You know what I mean? Because right now, I think I do like what you have going on for yourself right now. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like, you always come first. You yourself will always come first, and that to me, I think, is what you realize. It's like I don't want to think about anybody else. I got to make sure I get my due diligence done. I have my family, and you definitely have a really like strong support system, for yourself to kind of take that next leap. You know what I mean? So I'm actually like happy that you've come a long way. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And then another thing too, because I wanted to ask, because I know we've been sidetracked with all this stuff. I've always wanted to ask, since you love like cooking, what is like your favorite like dish that you enjoy cooking?
Dishes are hard because I don't really have favorites.
I understand.
I do like leaning towards like Asian cuisines. I think that's more typical. Obviously, comfort within that that area. So
tonkatsu? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I did it again, like senior year of college.
The correct way.
More correct. I managed the time. I woke up at 5 a.m. instead. So now, when we had dinner, it was appropriately like 5 or 6. So it's like, I woke up early, prepped all the ingredients the night before. So all I need to do is wake up, turn on the gas, leave it for 12 hours, and then that's it. But no, it's like cuisine wise, I like Asian food the most. So like,
homage. Get homage.
I have to represent. So like, but usually anything comfort wise. So I don't know. It's a pretty hard question because it's like I can find comfort in a lot of things. And for me, it's like when things feel warm, that's what I really like the most. So actually, I guess when things like like there are trends or summer related foods that are a lot colder. Those are foods I like kind of try to avoid. So like Korean cold noodles, like I forgot what they call that dish.
What they call it?
I can't deal with it.
You can't do that? Okay,
like I've done it once and I was like, oh, this is nice and refreshing because it's like really hot outside, but I can't finish this. Right? Because it's like, that's not me. Like I like things that like make me feel kind of warm. So barbecues are typically a comfort for me.
Comfort food,
Yeah. It's like, it's sweet, savory.
KBBQ?
KBBQ I also lean towards too. That's more like it's an activity.
Okay.
That's why I really like it because like... like you're going out somewhere with friends
and you're still doing
you're still doing something.
You're still like can you put it in? I was like, all right, fine.
There's places in the city that they do it for you and I'm like, it sucks. I don't want to you're paying for the experience of having to do it as well. Which is odd, right? Because you also have to add a lot of tip for that like 22-24% tip and I'm like,
that's stupid. It's literally like I get it because they have them as employees. But it's like you really don't need it. Like you want to do it for the experience. So I want to do it myself. You know what I mean? That's the what's it called? That's the customer, like what they would want, or what's it called? The star part of the restaurant is to do that. Is
the experience.
Is the experience, yeah.
Yeah.
So Asian cuisine, I would say, let's say Asian cuisine was your go-to.
Yeah.
Is it also the hardest cuisine? I mean, based off the tonkatsu, I feel like it is, but I could be wrong.
I think, that's a good question. Thinking about those times where I focused on culture specifically, I would say the way I'd answer is like a lot of cultures have their own set of ingredients.
Yeah.
That when you kind of like include things like that, you can kind of get the gist of where it is, right? So you'll take like if you pinpoint like Mexican food, for example, you have like cumin is something that is widely in Mexican food. Yeah. Right. And so like having like aspects of that is a good way to just be like, okay, I can kind of get the gist of it. It might not be exactly cultural, but you get the gist of it.
But you get the idea of it. Yep.
And I always focus on things that are more like easy to make, things that focus on either slow cook times or braising, and that's really it. The hardest one I'd say is places in Europe are pretty hard to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Escargot?
Like, I haven't been to France, so I haven't really tried French food.
I'll be honest with you, before we get to your part, I did try the escargot. It was actually pretty good, but they put a lot of pesto. Like, to cover, you know what I mean? Like, again, this is my experience. I don't know if there's another restaurant is way more legitimate with escargot, but the one that I went to, like, provided it. Yeah. It was pretty good. Like, I thought it was really good. Like, the texture was very interesting. Yeah. But the flavor was really good. Like, I thought it was solid. And the duck confit.
Oh, confit.
Confit. Is that what it is? Yeah. Super good. That one was excellent. But then I realized how it's cooked. Yeah. And I was like, damn, that sucks. Because, like, you're basically feeding a duck to make it... You know, if you feed the duck, it's going to taste more, like, really good. Yeah. Yeah. Because the fat or whatever, exactly, you know what I mean? It sucked to hear that, but then I'm like, damn, but it's so good. But
it's so good.
But I feel so bad. But that was why I had to bring that up. But go ahead, because I thought Europe. But,
actually, I think I find it harder to bake foods rather than cook. So
really? Bake?
Anything like when you look at, speaking of like French pastries, right? When you look at like croissants, for example, like that I think that requires a lot of precision and technique. And then meanwhile, there's foods that, like when you say like street foods, for example, like Filipino street foods, those are simple, easy, but they taste so good. Yeah. So it's like, I think of it as like a low risk, high reward kind of thing, where like croissants are like high risk, high reward. Yeah. Right. And so I think the more technical you get, the harder, like that's your, like a hard culture to have to replicate. Yeah. I think European food usually falls into that for me. Usually under the baking side, or pastas, for example, like people say making pasta can be easy or can be fun. Yeah. It's more like, well, if you don't know the proper technique behind it, it can get pretty messy really quickly. Yeah. And a lot of it also is like patience. So I'm like, I'm pretty impatient with cooking sometimes, right? Like I'm not going to spend a couple hours making like making pasta
like actual
noodles.
Like pasta dough.
Yeah.
Then dough noodles.
And then realize it's only for like one dish. Like I'm gonna just buy from the store, or I'll make gnocchi, which is easier, right? Yeah. So it's like, I wouldn't say there's a culture that's the hardest. It's more so the techniques that each culture has is what makes it hard. Yeah. You know, it's like a lot of Asian foods, like, you know, when they do stir fries and stuff, or when they do any noodle based dishes, that's crazy easy. It's fast, but it's like, it's crazy easy. But the only thing you have to deal with is the high heat. Right? Yeah. And so like that's what I've kind of learned throughout exploring different cultures is, you know, generally what ingredients they use, because a lot of things are pretty similar within that scope, but also like the techniques behind each one. Like Filipino food is crazy easy to make, and that's what I've learned about like occasionally doing Filipino food. Yeah. It's just like you're only just braising meat. Like adobo is just, you're technically boiling chicken in soy sauce. That's adobo. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like it's all technique based. I think.
Is that your favorite Filipino dish that your mom makes, or you have a?
I like adobo the most. Adobo, but I don't like traditional Filipino adobo because they use black peppercorns. We use ground black pepper. So you don't bite into like those
the corn.
Yeah, like that's the worst thing at the party, at Filipino parties.
I forgot about that.
You get rice, the adobo, and then you eat it, and then you bite down, and it's like so bitter. It's like
like you don't want that. You want like the just pepper, like ground pepper. That's it, and then you get like the flavor. Yeah.
And we don't do bay leaves in ours either.
Oh, you don't do the bay leaves? I think. No, I don't think my dad does the bay leaves. No, I think he doesn't do the bay leaves. Right. I don't know. I have to double check with him, but I know what you're talking about because the peppercorns are like the ball things.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, what? Why are they even in here?
Yeah.
And it tastes weird. Yeah, that's not my thing. Actually, my favorite is you'll probably like laugh at this because everyone will probably like all the Filipinos out there. Pork sisig is always like my
pork sisig. It's a classic.
It's a classic. Yeah, especially if you go to you definitely have been there. Mama Fina's.
Yes.
That's a good spot. Yeah. Oh my god. Any Filipino like go to like restaurants, like not even a restaurant, just they do it like a Chipotle where you just scoop pick, and you put it in a container and go. Like they're good too. You know what I mean? I just know Mama Fina's because they actually are legit like a restaurant. You sit down there, and not only they have pork sisig, but they have like some other sisigs. Like they would have like chicken sisig or like squid sisig. I don't even know if there's a squid sisig, but they probably do.
They're probably like seafood.
Yeah, seafood sisig. Like I love that, and it's funny too because when you ask what is it made out of, and I think if I'm wrong, I think it's made from like if it's pork sisig, it's probably the pig's face.
I don't remember.
I think it's the pig's face, but then it's like I can't really explain it, but I know it's like the face of the pig, but it's like okay, never mind. I'm not an expertise, all right. I just know it's the pig's face, but it's like the way they do it, to make it like chopped up and all that stuff like that. So it sounds like it's like ugh, but it's actually really good. Like that's why I love it. You know, what I mean? It's just like you said, it's oily as hell.
Yeah.
I go out of Mama Fina's and I smell like oil. I go out of the restaurant, I'm like, oh my god, like.
There's two things on that. One, my favorite Filipino food is one a lot of people don't like. It's I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's like dinuguan.
Oh, dinuguan. Yeah.
So that's my favorite for like a couple reasons. It's like no one likes it. It's pork's blood. It's pig's blood, right? And it's like it's
like the dark. It's dark.
It's so dark. Yeah. So my mom, when she wanted me to eat it, called it chocolate soup.
Yep, that's what they. Yep.
That's how they get you. And but over time at Filipino parties or when we order them at like Filipino restaurants, like where they do the scoops, right? Yeah. Like I always got it because it's like it felt warm, but also it's like it's something I hated as a kid. I learned to appreciate more as an adult. Just because I knew no one else would like it, but I knew I liked it. Yeah. But then in terms of the smelling, Filipino food smells so much. Oh, it's like I hated getting ready for school. Like back in elementary school, my mom would make like Spam and eggs, but I'm ready dressed in a uniform, right?
Classic.
I go downstairs, eat breakfast, I leave, I smell like Spam and eggs.
Like Spam and eggs.
Spam, eggs, and garlic, yeah. And it's like I can't like I've actually changed my routine around breakfasts because of that. So like when I got my first job, summer job, like from senior year of high school to college, freshman year, like I was still living with my parents, obviously, right? So they would always make breakfast in the morning. So what I changed my routine to do instead of getting ready first and then eating and then leaving, I'd always go downstairs, eat, then get ready. Like I don't even like brush my teeth in the morning until my shower. Yeah. So it's like morning, just rinse with water, right? Like it, and then go downstairs, eat, go back up to my room, and then brush my teeth, shower and get ready. I feel cleaner, and then I rush out of the house because the smells are still lingering.
So you try to run.
I try to run. Yeah.
Like you see it, you're like, no.
Yeah, it's like
run, like escape.
Yeah, just because of like I remember being in cars when I was in elementary school and like smelling myself.
You
and being
smell like straight oil. Yeah. Like, you smell like Spam, eggs.
The garlic's the worst one.
Yeah, if you do garlic rice.
Yeah, and it's like that's also the main reason why I don't like boy bawang. I can't stand the smell of boy bawang just because it's just garlic.
It's garlic. It's strong, bro.
Yeah,
it's super strong.
I've never enjoyed boy bawang at all. Like. I've never tried it. I'm never going to get into it.
I never did.
Yeah. And it's like because of like the smells that get stuck on your clothes, I can never enjoy boy bawang.
No. You can't. You can't. That and then this isn't even a dinner. You know what this is. This is what's it called? Jackfruit. Not jackfruit. It's
durian.
Durian.
Yeah. Never tried it. Never got near it.
Never will.
Not going to.
Yeah. My dad. My dad tried to convince me. He's like, oh no, it's actually like pretty good. I'm like, I get it, but
I can believe it.
But I'm not eating that thing. And then, before we like get into the chicken tacos that we're going to.
Oh yeah.
You tried the balut?
No, never tried balut.
I am debating. Actually, no, I'm kind of scared.
You never had it?
I never had it, but I'm kind of scared. But like, I kind of want to try it,
right?
Just for the experience. But then I see like the embryo in there, and I'm like, like I feel like I don't want to. My approach, if I ever was like, you know what, let me do it.
Yeah.
I will not even look at it. I will just all right, YOLO, and then
eat it. Right.
Pray to God, like I don't spit it out or whatever. You know what I mean?
You know, sometimes there's feathers in that already, so it's like you're getting to that point where it's so, it's like nearly developed.
Yeah, right.
That's
That's
the hard part to like really take in for balut. That's why I never tried it. I've also never had an opportunity to try it, but it's like I never would try balut.
You never. Yeah, okay, I feel you. Yeah. Nobody. I'm pretty sure about 90% of the people would never try it.
Yeah.
The rare 10, mostly in the Philippines.
Yeah, most in the Philippines.
Yeah, or even some probably some of the Filipino Americans would probably do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And probably some of the non-Filipinos. A few, a very rare few. Like like the ones from the Travel Channel, like Andrew Zimmern. You know who he is? Yeah. Or like Anthony Bourdain. Rest in peace to that man. Yeah. They would try it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's it, because everybody else would look at that thing. I would look at that thing, and I would just look at it and be like,
nope,
that thing is moving. Like I'm not doing it. It's not my. I love it. The fact that it's our culture. Dish. It's great.
Yeah,
but that ain't for me, Chief.
It's been a while since I had Filipino food, so it's like it's hard to kind of remember.
Time to run it back. Yeah. well, again, when we go back to the whole thing about your childhood days. Yeah, it's fine to go like once a month for Filipino. Yeah. Maybe once a couple months.
Yeah.
As much as it's
Filipino parties only.
Yes.
Which is like twice a year.
Twice a year. But then you realize you're getting the leftovers anyway. So you're going to end up eating
for a week.
And then you probably will take a break. Yeah. So that's the only time I'll probably maybe eat some Filipino. Like, unless like my dad makes something unique, like a sinigang. Yeah.
Sinigang's pretty good.
That also stenches.
Yeah.
That sticks with me like forever. Mm-hmm. Sorry. What do we got here first?
So we had two tacos prepared. So we had one steak taco. This is similar to like chicken tinga. It's like it's a lot of peppers.
Ooh.
Slow cooked with chicken. So I use chicken thighs, slow cook these.
Nice.
So it's I don't think this one's a little spicy, but it's supposed to be a little bit.
It looks good.
Used ancho and guajillo peppers. Slow cooked it this morning for I think 4 hours or so. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty tender. Use chicken thighs, so it's a little bit fatty.
Ooh, I think looks good.
Gonna be pretty good. So,
yeah, let's give it a try. Looks pretty good.
Top it off with the white onion, a little bit cilantro, and
a little bit. Yeah, I got you. What's funny is because I think it's my fault for talking too much. I definitely cooled this chicken down.
Nah, don't worry about it. You're good.
At the end of the day, it's still going to be good regardless. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Here we go. A little lime here. Oh my god, that looks bomb. I'm super excited. The steak was good, by the way. The steak was excellent.
I think the chicken's going to be a bit more filling. You have a lot more chicken than the steak.
Before I cheers you, let me just do a little screen here. I'm hoping this can actually...
Oh, your battery's going to die. We got to close this podcast soon.
Oh yeah, we got to close it.
All right.
Cheers, man. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Good. On that. This is so good. Going back to it, I know we're going to wrap it up over here. Mm-hmm. But I do want to say, thank you for allowing us to come to your place to do the podcast. And also thank you guys for watching the podcast as well. This chicken is really good. Thank you. Make sure to check out his channel and make sure to check out his IG. We'll see you guys soon for episode 23. Thank you. Thank you for coming,
having me on the show.
Oh, yeah. Let me do that. Cheers, man.
Cheers for that.
Woo!